Oh, Senate Bill 885, Baltimore City Charter, East Baltimore Community Benefits District.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, first let me thank the General Assembly, especially my colleagues here on Budget and Tax Committee, over the years for its strong and continuing commitment to the Baltimore metropolitan area. We did a site visit several years ago to East Baltimore, and specifically looking at the state's investment around the city. We got over to the east side of the city, right north of Hopkins Hospital, which just happens to be the largest employer in the entire state, and we looked at a plot of land that sits to the north. It was in ill repair. It was, for all intensive purposes, a wasteland. If you were to come back to that location now, this is the East Baltimore development area, just north of Hopkins, you will see the beginning of a renaissance. Biotech businesses, senior living homes, and in the next several months, despite what's going on with this economy, you're going to begin to see residential properties and other businesses and commercial developments taking place. So I really want to thank you. This was a major investment by the federal government, local government, but it was significant. Two prior governors and the current governor have strongly supported this effort. In Washington, Senators Mikulski, Cardin, Congressman Elijah Cummings, the entire delegation has been strong in this effort. To protect this investment made by the federal, state, and local governments, this bill establishes or gives the Baltimore City Council and the mayor's office the authority to establish a benefits district that would supplement city services, but ensure that the new community that will be created will be maintained, that will be pleasing, and will attract individuals from throughout the world and the nation and other parts of the state to a very significant redevelopment process in the city of Baltimore. I didn't even have to read my notes on this one because I don't need a note for this one. This has been important. We thank you. I'm joined by Lisa Harris-Jones, Chris Shea, and Andre Bonaparte, who will, they have all the technical information, but basically this enables the city then to establish in the EBDI corridor a benefits district that, again, is our insurance policy on the great investments made by not only those public entities that I identified, but a very significant contribution by the private sector in our community. Lisa Harris-Jones.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'm Lisa Harris-Jones. I'm here on behalf of East Baltimore Development Corporation. The problem with testifying with Senator McFadden is that every time I sit next to him, he says everything that I was going to say. So in the interest of time, I have nothing left but to say that there is no fiscal note on this bill, so that's a good thing. And I'm going to let Christopher Shea and Andre Bonaparte give you more information about the bill.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Christopher Shea. I'm here representing East Baltimore Development, or EBDI. We are the nonprofit that's responsible for the development of this roughly 100-acre area immediately north of Johns Hopkins. And indeed, the Senator has stolen my thunder with respect to the great progress we've made. Let me just simply add a tiny bit of precision to that, and then I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Andre Bonaparte, who's our Senior Director for Public Safety, who can describe the activities that we hope to implement through this Community Benefits District. The Phase 1 35-acre footprint of this project, where much of the construction has been completed, including 275,000 square feet of life sciences space, 158 units of senior and family housing, rental housing, up and operating over the past year. We've broken ground this past month on 25 units of renovated and new construction townhouses for sale, and we're nearing completion on 63 units of mixed income rental housing. Extraordinary progress has been made. 6 years ago, the assessed value of that 35-acre footprint was roughly $3 million. We envision nearly $1 billion of private investment in that same footprint, a dramatic change that has begun several years ago. And as the Senator said, through significant assistance from the state of Maryland, as our partner in funding this activities. What is before you is authorization for the mayor and city council of the city of Baltimore to create a community benefits district and a community benefits authority. It is not, what is not before you is the creation of that district. It is, in fact, the authorization for the mayor and city council to go through a process democratically with the residents and property owners of this East Baltimore area to establish whether it is in their best interest to form a community benefits district to enhance the safety, security, and cleanliness activities that the city already provides. We know that the city and other municipalities in the state are severely stressed financially. This is an opportunity for the major property owners, homeowners, and others in this area to make a decision as to assess themselves for an enhanced level of benefit that will protect the investment that they and the state and our other partners have made in this district. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Andre Bonaparte.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bonaparte?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and fellow senators. As Chris indicated, my name is Andre Bonaparte, and I am the Senior Director of Public Safety for East Baltimore Development Incorporated. As a former member of the Baltimore Police Department, having recently served as the Deputy Commander of the Eastern District, I know firsthand of the crime that was occurring in the East Baltimore development footprint before the development phase had begun. The redevelopment of the area has created a better opportunity, or will create a better opportunity and better living conditions for that particular geographical area. Last year, through the hard work of the many men and women of the Baltimore Police Department, the Baltimore Police Department had greatly reduced violent crime throughout the city, more notably in homicides and shootings. But as this relates to our geographical area, we know that we have, because of our project area in the development stages, that we do not have a large population of individuals in that particular area right now. We know that as the population, as residents and visitors and students and merchants begin to return, that there is the possibility that crime will then return into that area. And although the police department has made significant strides, we know that the police cannot do this alone. If I could just say that in 2008, for example, just outside of our project area, there were 13 homicides, 43 shootings, and 87 robberies. And again, as I said, we know that as residents begin to repopulate the area, there's the possibilities that crime could obviously come into our area as well. We know that the criminal activity, the criminal that are looking for new opportunities and ways to come into our geographical area, which could be problematic for us. We have worked diligently in developing a comprehensive public safety strategy, which we hope to implement here within the East Baltimore Development Incorporated footprint. That public safety strategy is built on a community policing philosophy, which we think is very appropriate for the footprint of East Baltimore Development as it relates to not just us, but the geographical, our surrounding partners and community organizations and community interests that are surrounding our area. We feel that this legislation for the community, enacting a community benefits district, will ensure some success, that we're able to keep our project area safe, as well as supplement and continually working with the city as it relates to the Baltimore Police Department, Department of Public Works, and all of the other entities within Baltimore City as well. And as Chris has indicated, obviously the amount of investment that has been put into this project area by the state, the federal government, Baltimore City, Johns Hopkins, and other private investors.
A question. I guess this development supports Johns Hopkins. In fact, Johns Hopkins is part of Johns Hopkins is supporting this development, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And because I know security at Johns Hopkins is around $35 or $40 million a year. So with this development, I guess, as you just said, you would see some decrease. It would help the security need, not only in this development district, but around Johns Hopkins as well. Is that
That's
correct?
correct, Mr. Chairman. And in fact, we work very closely with Johns Hopkins as well as our other partners, whether it's the KKI and Forest City, the master developer in our project area, and sharing our, as well as the Baltimore Police Department, obviously, and sharing our crime fighting or crime strategies, and we wish to build on that foundation that Johns Hopkins has already begun laying down in East Baltimore.
Sure. Are there additional questions?
Mr. Chairman, can I acknowledge
Sure.
these two people?
Please.
Laurie Schwartz, who really helped get this project started years ago, is with us. Laurie?
Thank you, sir.
And then retired police officer Darlene Crowder, great friend, who now is part of this effort as well. Graduated from the great Paul Laurence Dunbar High School in the community and was a police officer and is now back again, giving of herself to the community. So just want to thank them for being down with us as well. And thank you for hearing.
So I think this effort started with Delegate Rollins, as I recall. Was it not back in 94, 5, 6 back then, I believe?
Well, it was really myself and Hopkins and then Mayor Martin O'Malley and the business community.
I think it was before.
And yes, we did, Paul.
I believe this was before Mayor Martin O'Malley. I believe it was even back to Kurt Smoke.
The end of the Kurt Smoke administration.
It started, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
end
right.
of the Kurt Smoke administration.
Right.
We were looking at ways. Really, it was an initiative thought of in the minds of Clarence Dewburn.
Right.
About one day regenerating the area where he grew up,
Sure.
Bob Douglas, Hattie Harrison, myself, and a whole lot of others. What is the disposition of East Baltimore moving forward?
Right.
Because many of the residents moved out to the surrounding areas, northeast Baltimore and the county, and we were always perplexed about how we redevelop that area north of Hopkins. So partnering with Hopkins and the city and the federal government and the private sector, we came up with this concept of biotechnology.
Sure.
Just again working off as then Mayor O'Malley said, the strengths that we have within the city.
And there is money in the capital budget, and has been over the last few years,
Yes.
to go to support this. And also you're doing the same thing with West Baltimore.
Yes, sir.
With the technology park over there. And I guess the mayor now wants to go to Park Heights to do something similar.
The mayor's looking at Park Heights.
Right,
Again, as I begin my testimony, I just can't thank the state of Maryland enough for its investment. And once we get these projects rolling, we will be then a net contributor in many, many ways to the state of Maryland.
Sure.
Again, we thank you in Baltimore City. We thank you in the Baltimore region for your commitment.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your
Thank you.
testimony. And, right. The next bill is